Hey friends, this video is about the sodium potassium pump. So let's all brush up our basics. Firstly, let me give you a brief introduction about the various type of transport mechanisms occurring through the cell membrane. These transport processes can be broadly divided into three types. First one is the passive transport, second one is the active transport, and the third one is the vesicular transport. Both the passive and active transport are having a common factor in the form of an electrochemical gradient. Whereas in the case of vesicular transport, there is no such relation to the electrochemical gradient or the concentration gradient. The passive transport is a type of downhill transport because the ions are moving from high concentration to low concentration, whereas in the case of active transport, it is uphill, ions are moving from low to high concentration. The passive transport is not energy dependent, but active transport is energy dependent. Active transport is of two types, that is primary active transport and secondary active transport. Primary active transport is a transport mechanism that directly uses metabolic energy for the transport process. Whereas in the case of secondary active transport, one solute moves against its concentration gradient by using the energy generated by the gradient of another solute. Coming to the topic, sodium potassium pump is otherwise known as the sodium potassium ATPase. It is an integral membrane protein found in the plasma membrane of cells of all higher eukaryotes. It is a type of active transport, which means that it utilizes energy and occurs against the concentration gradient. It is a type of primary active transport. That means it directly utilizes metabolic energy for the transport process. Antipode is the process taking place here because it is pumping potassium into the cell and sodium is pumped out of the cell in the opposite direction, and this is known as the antipode. In this case, energy is derived from the ATP, that is ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP. Adenosine triphosphate is being hydrolyzed to ADP, and this energy in the third phosphate bond is used for the transport process. Because it is utilizing ATP for energy purpose, it is known as ATPase. And it is known as a p-type ATPase, that is phosphorylation type ATPase, because the energy being used is from the phosphorylation dephosphorylation process. Now let's see the structure of sodium potassium pump. So the sodium potassium pump is a heterodimeric protein made up of two subunits, an alpha and a beta subunit. Alpha subunit is the larger one with molecular weight about 100,000 and beta subunit is the smaller one with a molecular weight of about 55,000. Alpha subunit is having catalytic activity, whereas the activity of beta subunit is unknown. At the cytoplasmic side, the alpha subunit has ATPase activity and the binding sites for 3-sodium, ATP and phosphate. At the extracellular side, alpha subunit has binding sites for 2-potassium and ORBane. Now let's see the mechanism of action of the sodium potassium pump. So, as I already said, it is a p-type ATPase. Thus, phosphorylation and dephosphorylation of the carrier protein lead to the transfer of ions across the cell membrane. The binding of 3-sodium and 1 ATP molecule to their respective sites on alpha subunit activates the enzyme ATPase that catalyzes the hydrolysis of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, to ADP, that is adenosine diphosphate, liberating high energy phosphate bond. This high energy phosphate bond is bound to the aspartic acid residue of the alpha subunit. This phosphorylation of alpha subunit by ATP causes conformational change in the carrier protein that transfers 3 sodium ions from inside to the outside of the cell. In the next step, 2 potassium ions bind to the outer side of the alpha subunit, and this leads to the hydrolysis of the aspartic acid phosphate bond, that is dephosphorylation takes place. The dephosphorylation in turn causes reconformational change in the alpha subunit that transfers the 2 potassium ions from outside to the inside of the cell. The reconformational change of the carrier protein also returns to its original conformation. Thus, during one cycle of conformational, phosphorylation and reconformational dephosphorylation change in the alpha subunit of sodium potassium ATPase, 3 sodium ions are pumped out of the cell, 2 potassium ions are pumped into the cell, and 1 ATP is hydrolyzed. There are certain factors which regulate the sodium potassium pump activity. Some factors activate it, whereas some factors inhibit it. Many hormones, chemicals, and drugs act by increasing sodium potassium pump activity, such as thyroxine, insulin, and aldosterone, whereas many hormones and chemicals act by decreasing sodium potassium pump activity, such as dopamine, digitalis, and metabolic poisons like DNP. Hypoxia and hypothermia also inhibit sodium potassium pump activity. The sodium potassium pump serves many important cellular functions. First of all, it maintains the cytosolic ion concentration. That is, it maintains high concentration of potassium and low concentration of sodium in the cell. It maintains the cell volume. By maintaining the ion concentration on both sides of the cell, the sodium potassium pump regulates water movements across the cell membrane. This maintains the intracellular water content and therefore the cell volume. The failure of sodium potassium pump activity can lead to cell swelling and rupture. It also helps in protein synthesis by maintaining a high intracellular concentration of potassium, which is essential for protein synthesis. It also helps in maintaining resting membrane potential of the cell by maintaining ion gradients across the cell membrane. It also mediates action of many hormones on the cell. Some important examples are thyroxine, aldosterone, and insulin. This video about the sodium potassium pump would be just incomplete if we don't mention the discoverer of sodium potassium pump. It was discovered in 1957 by a Danish physiologist, Professor Jens Christian Skau of Aarhus University, who received the Nobel Prize for his discovery in 1997, which was the culmination of his 4 decades of research aimed at explaining the mechanism behind this vital motor of the cells. He received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry together with Paul D. Boyer and Johnny Walker for his discovery of sodium potassium ATPase.